Hello, welcome everyone. Welcome to Conversations with Sandy and Manda. I'm Manda Stack, intuitive coach and energy clearing specialist, and I'm joined today with Sandy.
Hi, I'm Sandy Walden from Serenity. I work with folks who are grieving a death. So there's no need for them to be stuck or believe that they have to be in pain for the rest of their life. We work together so that they can find safe, effective ways to heal and rebuild their relationship with the one they love.
And Sandy and I are offering these conversations in a time when a lot of us are adjusting to a great pause in our lives and in the world. And with that, we have a really special guest today, Meredith Vaish, and she is the queen of pause.
Cool.
She's the owner and founder of Pause Box. Let me share a little bit about Meredith. She and I are good friends, and I have incorporated some of her pause techniques in my own meditations, and they've been really powerful. And so we're really glad to introduce her and welcome her today and have a conversation about the place of pause in our life right now. So the overview of this topic today is why pause is the highest form of self-care that you can do right now. And there'll be some practical tips for you to get started. Meredith Vaish is a speaker, writer, retreat designer, and founder of Pause Box, a company devoted to helping people go from busyness to breakthrough with the power of intentional pause. She offers products and programs to help navigate today's overdoing, always on culture. Meredith teaches that a skillful pause isn't the absence of doing, it's the most powerful doing there is. Meredith is currently on lockdown with her spouse, her 2 teenage daughters, elderly father, mastiff, and a bonded pair of bunnies at her home in the San Francisco Bay Area. And she offers monthly Pause Box subscriptions to help people make space for clarity and intention at shop.pauseboxco.com. Welcome, Meredith.
Thank you. Wow, I didn't realize how busy that bio sounds. Isn't that the irony? Yeah, it's so good to be here today.
Oh, it's beautiful to have you. So pause, it's a timely topic, isn't it?
So timely. Yeah.
Why pause? Why do we need to make room for pause in our lives?
Yeah. So I was trying to figure out where best to start. And I think pause is something that we actually do all the time. And so I thought I would just kind of table set about the kinds of pauses that are out there and that we avail ourselves of, and then really focus in on the one that is the most nourishing and, in my mind, the most kind of self-rejuvenating, which I think we all need a little bit right now. So just to give you the lay of the lands, the first kind of pause is something that's going to feel very familiar, and that's the distraction pause, right? So we all kind of want to get out of our thinking, fearful mind, and so maybe we'll turn on some television, maybe we'll watch the news, although that doesn't necessarily help us be less fearful. But you know, it's the distraction. Something's always on, something to distract us from kind of our inner thoughts. And that's a very practical strategy for how to use pause, and we do it all the time. And I'm not saying not to do it, but notice how it doesn't address the underlying issues. It'll give you some temporary reprieve, but if that's your only strategy in the whole kit that you have, you're not going to get the kind of rejuvenation and calm that you're probably looking for. So the second kind of pause is something that I don't know if we give ourselves a whole lot of permission for, and that's the restful pause, right? So when was the last time we let ourselves take a nap? Maybe we might be doing it now. Because we're all working at home and we can go grab a cat nap. But I have a house full of people, and sometimes I just notice, like, even though I'm the queen of pause, I'm like, are they going to think I'm lazy? Like, do I need to be on all the time, or can I just go and grab a little shut-eye? So that restfulness, and some people do it with actual napping. Some people do it through like a beautiful meditation. It's that calming down of all our heightened physical senses, and it's incredibly restoring. Again, doesn't necessarily take care of the underlying issues, but certainly gives you more power and more energy and more openness to kind of approach your day. The third pause is the one we all just got sucked with, which is called the forced pause. And where that typically tends to show up is more around illness or getting laid off, or big events in our lives that force us to just stop and take a break, take a breath, and think, oh my gosh, what now? So right now we've all been served the pandemic. So we're collectively going through this forced pause. And I have this true, sincere belief that a crisis is a terrible thing to waste. And this is a beautiful opportunity for many of us to be able to kind of, because we don't have the outward focus, we do have a chance to have that inner time, which is the segue to the fourth pause. And this is the intentional pause that you talked about. And this truly is the place where you invite yourself to return to who you truly are at a deep level. And it's a practice in listening. It's a being with energy versus a figuring out energy. It's not an analyzing energy. It's not a productive energy. It's a very much a noticing and a kind of holding, being with who and what you are and what you need right now. And so I'll stop there, but that's kind of the jumping off point for some of the tips I have for how you can maybe start with that practice of that intentional pause.
I love the idea of a pause, because as I'm listening to you, for somebody who may not really understand before we began,
yeah,
I'm really getting the feeling it is just taking that moment and shifting.
Yeah.
For allowing a little bit of rest or rejuvenation, or even just a break from what's happening. Am I understanding you correctly?
Totally. It sounds, it's one of the simple, hardest kinds of things to do. It is simply breaking from all the mental and future past thinking, which great traditions have talked about for eons. But the real trick these days is, because we are so bombarded and we have such high productivity expectations of ourselves, and this need to feel useful and this need to have an impact, and everything our society celebrates, do something, right? It's always outward. So what I'm finding the real value of this teaching around pause is teaching people how to even find that break or notice that they haven't been doing it, right? Sometimes we don't even notice where we are in this kind of cycle. So some of the things I was thinking about when I was thinking about your listeners was, how can we start to tune in? And obviously the more time we spend tuning in, the better off we'll be overall. But let's just say you just have a minute, right? And if you, how could you, in just a minute, at least check in? And not attached to a whole lot of like, this is going to be life-changing. It's just, I'm just going to start exercising the muscle of just tuning in. So I have a couple of tips. So one is really practically put yourself on the list. Somewhere in your day, there's like literally make space for yourself. And if you have a day planner, or if it's on your phone, set an alarm, whatever it is, give yourself, if you can do an hour, if you can do 10 minutes, if you can do 5 minutes, give yourself that one piece of time where you are attending to you. And I know how hard this is, because I have a house full of family, and my initial instinct is a caregiver. So I'm constantly interested in, how are you? Do you have enough food? Do you have the right food? Are you getting enough sleep? Are you having an emotional day? Can I help you? So I'm constantly being drawn into my mothering, nurturing, mindset. So I literally have to put an hour on the day where I'm actually available to other people to have a pause, because that's the way I keep myself accountable to showing up for myself, because it's just so easy not to. So in that pause, I ask myself the question, what do I need right now? And I don't force an answer. It could be that I ask the question many, many times, and each time it gets a little deeper, and there's a little hint of something that I'm listening to, or sometimes it's like, well, you need a nap right now, or you need to go outside right now, or you need to, I would think of a name and I'm like, oh, I should reach out to someone right now. So if you just still the busyness and still all the mental thoughts, and you ask yourself, what do I need right now? You will start developing the ability to hear what your body and your soul actually is trying to tell you, but it's a little too busy for you to hear. So that's one of my tips, is make time, ask the question.
It's really interesting because I've been speaking with an awful lot of people who have got the opposite situation of what you have.
Oh,
A single person in a
yeah,
home who's no longer working for a myriad of reasons. And so they feel overwhelmed with the amount of time they have.
yeah,
And so when I hear you speak about the point of the pause and what that gives, it almost feels to me as though this would give these people not a respite, but something to look forward to and plan,
yeah.
so that it gives them something to do in their day that's feeling overwhelming.
Yes. Yes. I love that you bring that up, because my good friend is actually in that boat, and she's isolated alone at home, and she just retired. So she's like, I don't know what I just did, but I just jumped into this huge abyss, and I've got nothing going on. So the tendencies, what we can notice about that is the tendency is to fill the time with that first kind of pause, which is the distraction pause, right? And that can be fine. It's just not particularly rewarding. She does get out and move. She does get out and move. And so she's now penciled that in as, I'm going to go for a walk. Sometimes she tries to do it 6 feet away from a friend of hers. And sometimes she just goes on her own. So my advice to her was, when you go on your own and you notice your thoughts, there will be a moment in that walk where there will be an emptiness of thought, and you can just listen. And listen for a word, listen for a sign, listen for a piece of beauty. Just listen in your walk. So movement to me is one of those remedies for folks who are definitely solo, because it is engaging the full body and it makes you feel less alone. Then your brain's going to try to convince you that you're totally alone. But your body, actually, you're always with your body, and it loves to go on walks. So that's kind of where I'd start if I'm solo. And then finally, I just have to say, it's incredibly intimidating if you're anxious and fearful to tune in, because you're going to feel the fear. And I have to say, it's worth every second of nervousness, because once you check in and you can, you don't change the fear, you just be with it. Like literally you invite it to sit next to you, if you can handle that. For some capital T trauma, that's not an option. And there are better professionals to advise how to sit with that. Probably you, Sandy. But if you have little T trauma, just everyday anxiety, and you're just avoiding being by yourself, notice that, have compassion for yourself. And I invite you just to set a timer and say, for 5 minutes, I'm just going to sit here and allow myself to be exactly as I am. If that's fidgety, if that's nervous, if that's anxious, if that's crazy, monkey mind, whatever it is, start the practice, because that muscle will develop, and you can then slip into a pause state much more easily as you move forward.
That's well said, and acknowledging that for some people, we do avoid going into the pause because we're afraid of what we're going to find or feel or think about. So thank you for addressing that piece of it.
Yeah.
As we, move through this extended period of pause globally, for many of us, it's quite an opportunity, and opportunity to take you up on some of your pause
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I also, before we get to that, we're going to eventually be moving out the other end of this to
Yeah.
whatever we're going to come to understand as the new normal,
Yeah.
and probably a caution to not go back to all of our old ways. Like, how can
Yeah.
we take this pause into, however long it's going to take to get into a new rhythm?
Yeah. I just got chills as you said that, because that really is the opportunity here. And it's not to go back to our old states, but to find that new state. So for me, pause has always been so creative. It's like a creative time where you are literally building your next season, your next self as you tune in, right? And you're tuning into impulses, you're tuning into instincts, you're tuning into your own path that has been there the whole time. You just haven't been aware of it. So absolutely, now's the time to start building the muscles, start listening, start enjoying and reveling in this spacious opportunity before you. And when we quote go back to normal, you'll have such a different vantage point of what your normal is going to be. So that's the creative process, and I get so excited about that.
Hmm.
Thanks for bringing that.
Exciting. It sounds very exciting. As I listen to you, I imagine while I'm resting and rejuvenating, I'm growing at the same
Yes.
time. It's a very exciting thought, and so it feels good whether I imagine being in a very busy household or being in a place that feels a little bit too quiet. It feels as though it would serve all of us in one
Serves
space.
everyone. Yes. And the final thing I just read, we hear about post-traumatic stress all the time. And I just read an article that said there's such a thing as post-traumatic growth. So we all have an opportunity to move through this with that kind of growth mindset, and that what opened up for me, what did I get clear on? What am I listening to? How am I more fully available to what I want, what I prefer, what I desire, what I want to build, create, connect to. So that's all reflective stuff that you get to do right now. Yeah. That's fun. We would never choose this, but boy, it's here. So let's take advantage of it.
Well said. Yes.
Yeah.
Meredith, this has been such a rich conversation. Thank
Yay.
you.
Thank you both.
Share with us how people can connect with you more. Do you have any special offerings going on?
Yeah, I would love, if you're a Facebook follower, I have a page called The Pause Box. So facebook.com, The Pause Box. And on there, I have a lot of content that can kind of help you tune in, tips and tricks, articles, that sort of thing. I'm also offering this practical pause, which is a virtual call, just like Zoom, where you literally just need to feel either witnessed in who you are being, or you need an accountability to say, I'm going to spend time for myself and just say no to the distractions for a little bit. So that happens once a week, and you can find those times on my page. And then the other very exciting offer I have is that I'm launching a subscription service. So I knew that busy people they need a little help. They need a little nudge to say, hey, put a pause placeholder on your calendar. So it's a subscription. It comes every month, and it's just a beautiful set of cards that inspire you to sit and reflect and ask yourself those really important questions. So that's available at shop.pauseboxco.com.
Yes, and please, after hearing you, I think a lot of people are going to be racing to your Facebook page and wanting to reach out to you. So thank you for holding space for us in this time of pause, and for offering your guidance, because this pause is new for a lot of us. So we really appreciate your wisdom.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you for sharing all of these gifts and tips. It's been quite wonderful. I look forward to the next conversation with you.
Excellent.
I'm so glad.
Nice to meet you.
Oh, it's been wonderful. And what we're hoping is that our audience, everybody who reads or hears this, feel free to engage. Share with us. What are your thoughts? How will the pause serve you? How have you welcomed the pause? what struggles are you having? What successes are you really enjoying? And let's keep this conversation going. Sharing it with one another is growth for all of us. So thank you so much,
Love.
Meredith.
Thank you. Beautiful.
Again, and I'm Amanda Stack, and you can reach me at my website, mydivineintuition.com.
And I'm Sandy Walden. You can find me at sandywalden.com.
Thank you, everyone. Be well.